You are listening to Beyond Ohio.
Everyone's favorite podcast
that no one's ever heard of.
What's up, guys? Welcome to Beyond Ohio, everyone's favorite podcast no one's ever heard of. I'm Justin.
Gwen here.
And you can call me T-Peasy.
T-Peasy?
T-Peasy? Like Tupac, but not really.
What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 4.
Number 4.
Cuatro.
El número 4.
Oh, goodness.
Remember what rule number 4 is here?
Yeah, rule number 4.
I don't even know if Gwen knows rule number 4. I don't think that applies to her.
It's no, I know. It's no Jimmy Eat World.
No, that's rule number 1.
That's rule number 1.
Rule number 1 at Hard Knocks Tattoo. In case anybody ever comes to Hard Knocks Tattoo in Mount Vernon, Ohio, that's where we do this podcast from. We all work here at Hard Knocks Tattoo. And rule number 1 is we don't listen to Jimmy Eat World.
No Jimmy Eat World.
No Jimmy Eat World.
Don't play it, Pandora.
Don't play it, Pandora.
I believe rule number 2, because the rule, it's been a while since we reviewed the rules.
Number 2.
Rule number 2 is
no Jimmy Eat World.
Always show up on time.
No Jimmy Eat World.
Which we very rarely do.
We try our best.
We're always pretty.
We're like at least 2 or 3 minutes
We're
late.
usually chronically late.
Chronically.
Does that make sense?
We're late from chronic.
Yes, exactly. We're chronically late.
Chronically.
I don't remember what rule number 3 was.
We're gonna chronicle it.
We should probably redo these rules because rule number 1 I remember, and rule number 4 is very clear.
What stays in the shop stays, what? Shit. What's said in the shop stays in the shop.
That's not rule number 4.
No, I just made that
What
up.
happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. That's rule number 3.
I'm not even going to go into the rest of these rules. Let's get on to whatever it is we were going to talk about.
Yeah, what were we going to talk about? Life.
Well.
No, I'm kidding.
Life,
That's
liberty,
real heavy.
in the pursuit of happiness.
We don't need
And
that
other funny laws. We actually have a thing.
On our Monday.
What's that thing that we have?
Oh yeah, we have this list here.
I'll go to the list.
I got a list right here.
Oh, can you go to it? And
Bam.
Still record?
Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
Oh yeah, list.
Here, someone else take the mouse because I'm doing this.
Got it.
It's
all right.
90s. What is it? 97.
It's 67
scroll
or something
up,
like
scroll
that.
Back up real quick, Gwen. 67 ridiculous laws from around the world that still actually exist.
This is from thoughtcatalog.com.
Thoughtcatalog.com. Go check them out. Should we start at 1?
Yeah, just browse.
I guess it doesn't really matter. I don't think they're chronologically ordered.
Anything you see that's like, what about?
Interesting.
What?
That's funny. 3, interracial marriage is still illegal in Alabama. Oh, in 2000.
It was still illegal in 2000?
That's totally believable.
I mean, it's believable, but that's like ridiculous. Like
it is. That's
What's
how they
this?
are down
In
there.
7 U.S. states, according to their constitutions, atheists are barred from holding public office.
Really?
Wow.
Whatever happened to separation of church
I wonder
and
what
state?
7 states those are. It doesn't say.
Wait, number 2 is a funny one. Sodomy is illegal in general. In Idaho, Utah, Michigan, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Florida, Alabama, Mississippi, and Louisiana. So I guess what you're trying to say is like in the South, except for Idaho, Utah, and Michigan.
Wait, it says sodomy is only illegal for homosexuals? This is a weird one.
What are we
This is a weird one.
reading here?
Let's move on to the
What
next
are these
illegal.
lists?
Wow,
What is this?
Yeah, where did you
What's
get
this?
this?
Since 1986, U.S. authorities have had the legal right to access any 180-day-old email without a warrant. So
Really?
pretty much since email was a thing, they're like, if it's older than 180 days, we can look at it.
Look at it.
I didn't know that. Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
Oh, this one's number 7's funny. In Saudi Arabia, it's illegal for any woman to drive a car. Right now, it's illegal for them to vote too. Apparently, it will become legal in 2015. How sweet!
Oh man.
So they should be able to vote now.
Well, they're voting now,
It's
but
all
they're still
good
not
now
driving.
for them. I think they can drive right now.
Safety meeting.
You know, when I was younger, my parents wouldn't let me drive certain places when I first started driving.
I read one. I don't know if it's on this list, but I read one of those back in the day. They would have these lists, where it's like crazy laws that are still in the books. And I remember one I heard was in Texas, and I don't know if this is still a law that was on the books, but it was definitely on this list. It said,
Excuse me, guys.
It said in Texas that if your wife is driving a car, it's the husband's responsibility to Go in front of the car at least 20 yards and with a loud noise-making device, alert people that a woman is coming down the road in a vehicle
like
driving.
An air horn?
What? Yeah. That's like a law that was on the books in
That's
Texas.
ridiculous. What about this one? This is crazy. Number 11. In Greece, police are allowed to arrest anyone suspected of having HIV. What? Police are also allowed to force HIV testing, to publicize the names of HIV-positive people, and to have them evicted from their homes.
Wow.
What?
That sounds really compassionate.
That's strict.
That's crazy.
They are not messing around.
This is a quick one. Number 14. In Thailand, it's illegal to step on money. I wonder how enforced that is, though.
I don't know.
How do you get caught?
Let's see. The
if
one
you just step on it
now, the one right below it, 15, is really good because I've actually been to Singapore, and let me just tell you something before I even read this. Singapore is the cleanest motherfucking country in the world. Like, you could legitimately eat off the sidewalk.
Well, they have
That guy
$1,000 fines.
That guy in the 90s that was caned, wasn't that in Singapore?
That was in Singapore. Yeah.
What did he do?
He spray painted a wall. If I
Ah.
remember correctly, he spray painted a wall. But
Idiot.
number 15 says, in Singapore, selling non-medical chewing gum or chewing normal gum is a fine of $1,000.
Yeah, what?
That is straight up true. Like, you can't even find gum. They don't sell gum in Singapore, and if you have it...
What is medical gum? Like, I want to quit smoking gum?
I would think so. Probably some sort of, like, nicotine gum, or maybe some sort of... Maybe they have marijuana gum there or something like that. It says the second offense costs $2,000, and being forced to clean a public area of the city for a day. Now...
Oh, yeah.
Break joke.
Just hold on for a coughing break.
I'm not coughing.
Whoa.
So,
Damn.
where did he leave off? Where'd you leave off? If a person litters
yeah,
3 times.
If your person litters 3 times and must clean the streets wearing a bib reading, "I'm a litterer." Even pharmacists who sell the medical gum and forget to ID get 2 years in jail.
Oh my God.
Spitting is also illegal and can result in arrest. And I remember that too. Like
Holy.
when I was in the Navy and we went to Singapore, they were like, "Don't spit." Like, we weren't allowed to dip.
I believe
or
that is
spit.
a Simpsons episode.
And I don't know.
I think Bart goes to there and spits, and there's a whole thing about it. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, Singapore doesn't play around. Plus, shit's really expensive there, too. Like, we went to, I don't even know why, but we went to a McDonald's when we were in Singapore, and it was like $25 American for, like, a regular old Big Mac meal.
Jeez.
Like, just a
No,
Coke.
thanks.
Just if you just wanted, like, an 8-ounce glass of Coca-Cola there, it's like $12.
That's crazy.
I'll just take a McFlurry.
This one, it sounds crazy. It says, there's a law in South Carolina called the No Mock Proposal Law, which states that anybody above the age of 16 years old is not allowed to perform a proposal if they do not mean it. What happens if they do? They get thrown in jail? I thought you meant it. That's hilarious.
That's crazy.
Oh, in Montana, proxy weddings are allowed for those serving in the military, which means a friend can pretend to be the groom or the bride, and the union would still be considered valid. Can you imagine that? Like, hey,
Stand in on for me.
my husband's not here. Can you pretend to be him, and so we can get married?
I think what that is referring to is if you're in the military, like, you get more money for being married.
Right.
So what they're saying here is in Montana, it's illegal for them to be in a fake marriage with somebody they're not really married to in order to get that money.
No, it says they can. It says you can stand in. It says in some cases that both the bride and groom are absent. So you can have 2 stand-ins and still get married.
Go get married.
Yeah,
for me.
yeah. Like, will you fill my spot real quick, and then have her fill her spot, and then we're gonna be here. But
We're going on our honeymoon.
but you got to be one of them has to be serving, or both of them have to be serving in the military.
Jeez.
So you could be in the military and get married in Montana without being in Montana.
That's cool.
Hey, can you stand in for me? Yeah, I get it now. Oh man, that's crazy.
Oh my gosh.
In Arizona, having more than 2 vibrators in your home is illegal. If you own more than 2 in your house, you can be subject to criminal process.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, why do you need more than 1, really?
But why? Why aren't you allowed?
But why more than 2 is excessive?
In Iowa, it's illegal for a man to kill man with a mustache. I said kill. I don't know. I said
Kill that fucking mustache wearing motherfucker.
Let me try this again. In Iowa, it's illegal for a man with a mustache to kiss a woman in public.
Wow.
Do they really enforce that?
Flavor saver. wait,
They probably do. They probably like this.
In Massachusetts, I feel sorry for you guys in Massachusetts. It's deemed illegal for a woman to be on top during sex.
All right, if you are
How would
listening to
they
this
know that?
podcast, go into YouTube and type in Massachusetts right now, and then watch the music video, and then come back, because then you'll appreciate that more somehow. I don't know how, but you will. Okay? On to the next thing. In Virginia, it's illegal for a man to kick a woman out of bed.
How would they know all this? Like, are you going to call and tell the cops?
Like the other one that's from Massachusetts is apparently it's illegal in Massachusetts for a man and woman who rent a room for the night to sleep in the nude. So if we sleep in our clothes or jammies or whatever, it's all good. But nude, is that both of them in the nude or just one of them? What if one's nude and the other one's
one of them gets processed. In Vermont, a wife needs her husband's permission to wear false teeth.
Honey, just leave those suckers out. She's like, look on my ears. I know what I'm doing.
In Oregon, talking dirty while having sex is illegal, even though they don't really specify what qualifies as dirty talk.
Just don't talk. That's what
Just
they mean.
shut up. Shut up and take it.
He was
like, I can't say
one
anything,
guy
I'm
was
gonna
so
get
tired of his
arrested.
wife talking during sex, and he was like a congressman. He's like, I'm going to pass this law. Now you can't talk ever.
In Utah, you can marry your cousin, but only if you are both over the age of 65, because, you know, when you turn 65, you're known to have impeccable judgment.
That's true. It's like, think how romantic this is, though. Just picture this, right? Like, baby, I waited till I was 65 years old to finally tell you, cousin, I love you. Let's get married. It's like, that's the most romantic thing ever said.
Do it.
That's the most romantic thing ever
Our
said.
kids will just be like, what the fuck? We used to be cousins. Now we're brother and sister? What's going on?
Here's a weird one. In Kentucky, a woman cannot remarry the same man more than 3 times.
Third time's the charm.
It seems like
You're either with it or not with it. You're stuck with what you got at 3. That's it.
In France, it's stated it is illegal to marry a dead person. Where'd you say you could marry a dead person?
That's
In
funny.
France.
That's funny because
Well, it says in our
it's
last
legal.
podcast, it said it was legal.
This one's outdated.
This is the problem with internet facts. They're usually not.
This
Somebody
one's outdated,
actually
though.
do some research on that and let us know at beyondohio@gmail.com. That's beyondohio@gmail.com.
And hold on, I want to read this one too because I feel like I may have some friends. I know I have some friends that are in Britain or in England, as it were. It says in Britain it is illegal to operate a cow while intoxicated. First of all, I'd like to fact check that. Any of my friends that live in England, London area, Britain, anywhere on the island, is this true? And let me ask you this:
Operate a cow?
How do you operate a cow?
Is it like a computer on wheels? Is that what they're talking
Wait.
about?
Do you know what you? Is it? Wait. Like
There's real, like when I worked at places,
Like
we'd have cows. That,
COW?
yeah, it's
computer on wheels?
wheels.
I don't think that's what they're talking about, but that's hilarious. Can you imagine guys like all drunk pushing these little computers, like little medical computers around? Is this true? In New York City, it's illegal to honk your horn. If you do, you're at a risk of paying a $350 fine.
I feel like that is actually true, but
Sounds
people
like there's
still
always
do
honking
it
around
all the
there.
time.
Oh, number 43 is the best one so far. Someone else has got to read it.
It says.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, you go.
No, you go.
Okay,
No, you read it. You read it better than me.
In
No,
Florida.
you should read it.
No, you.
Yeah, you read it.
It's illegal
No, I'm
to
gonna
fart
read
in
it.
public
No, you read it.
after 6 p.m. on Thursday.
She didn't even read it right.
Yeah, I did. In Florida, it's illegal to fart in... Oh, just kidding. Okay, this is the real thing. In Florida,
I should
it's
not have given
illegal
this to you.
to fart in a public place after 6 p.m. on a Thursday.
Is that really true?
I have no idea.
I have some
You've
family.
been
I
there.
have some family in Florida.
Have you farted down there on a Thursday
I
after 6
farted
p.m.?
everywhere.
You farted down
I
there.
fart everywhere, and always at 6 o'clock, and always on a Thursday.
Have you ever farted down
For
there?
sure. You know what?
Next time,
hold on.
time it.
We need to fact check this one.
You fact check that. I'm going to say this
No,
real
I'm going
quick.
to fact check this one with we're going to do a guest appearance.
Oh,
here.
nice. I just want to say this real quick because I think a lot of ladies will love this. In Samoa, it is illegal to forget your wife's birthday. How many
That's kind of cool.
Well, you would.
That's some
How many
Samoan
women in
shit.
America would vote for that? They'd be like, hell yeah.
They'd be like, yeah, he'll never forget my birthday ever. But then what if you do? He goes to jail?
That's it. They put him to death.
You get the chair.
Oh.
On her birthday.
In Florida, it's illegal. Is that the entire state of Florida?
Probably.
Let's just fact check this.
Let's find out.
Let's just
all
online
Florida.
fact check this.
In Florida, it's illegal to fart in a public place after 6 p.m. on Thursday. Anyway.
Florida law.
It says in Honolulu, Hawaii, it's illegal to sing loudly after sunset.
Yeah, because people were trying to sleep.
Yeah, but people want to sing.
In Missouri, it's illegal
Honestly,
to drive with an uncaged bear. I would like to think that everywhere it should be illegal to drive with an uncaged bear. And it doesn't seem like it's going to turn out very good. I don't know. How do these laws even get written?
Oh, I like that law. Go back up. This is a good one. Go up, go up.
Up where?
Up one more. It says, in Turin, Italy, dog owners must take their dogs on a walk at least 3 times a day. That's a law.
Like, how do they... I don't think that most of these things... They have little chips in all their
dogs, and it lets you know.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And then they come and arrest you if you don't.
Uh-huh.
They'll go right to your work. They'll go right wherever you are and arrest you.
I'm fact-checking this.
I don't know.
I'm fact-checking this Florida thing, and apparently...
It did say that.
Apparently, this is like a legitimate law.
Which makes me believe that this list is actually legit, which is crazy.
I mean, this is from a post on TripAdvisor.
Okay.
So this is somebody who traveled to Florida and then put this post, which is it looks like what they did was they just copied and pasted the actual law. It says, in Saratoga, Florida, it is illegal to sing while wearing a bathing suit. It is considered an offense to shower naked, which I don't know how that's possible. It is illegal.
What? What are you going to shower in your bathing suit?
It is illegal to block any traveled wagon road, and it's illegal to fart in public places after 6 p.m. on Thursday. That's legit.
Huh. Why Thursday?
I have no idea.
Because that's the day that farts are just the most unbearable.
Like, that's the one day the one guy's just like, you know what? I could take a fart on any day, but I cannot take it on Thursday. Like, I just cannot stand it.
Don't fuck up my Friday.
Oh, that's super weird. I feel like that's something that we could come back and do again. Like, that's it. I'm calling the police.
It's not after 6 yet, I don't think.
It's not after 6 yet. All right, I think
it's 4:39. That was totally legal.
I think it's time to go on to the next segment. I think I hear a million doors opening.
Who the is that?
It sounds like a special guest. All right, here's our special guest. We have a very special guest today. We have, as mentioned in our last podcast, we have Shane Terra. Hello, Shane Terra. Hello?
Shane.
What's up, guys?
Like Shane.
You're live. You're on live podcast right now.
Can you hear us at all? Can you hear us?
Yeah. I can't. Hold on a sec, sorry. I'm dying.
You do. You sound like us.
Yeah, I had to do a safety meeting with my roommate's cat.
With your roommate's cat? That's awesome.
We should read
Yeah, he's chill on my bed, so.
This safety meeting. So, hey, I want you to, if you could, I want you to talk about your podcast just for a second.
Well, I'm still kind of trying to figure out exactly how I want everything to go and like kind of format I'm gonna pick for the long run. But basically, right now, I'm just talking about songs, and eventually albums or EPs to get stoned to. And I'm also
right up my alley.
I'm also doing. What's that?
I said that's right up my alley.
Dude, I think it's great. It's something I used to do from a blog. I used to write in like the early 2000s, and I just kind of wanted to bring it back. And then the other thing I've been doing is I'm kind of doing like a tour of my tattoos. I'm just kind of explaining like the situation and like story behind like every one that I got. Just I don't know. I just always kind of wanted to do that, so I thought it was kind of fun.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. I've watched or listened to a few episodes. Now, I said on the last episode how everyone could find that. What was that again? It's Podbean. Do you know how you? What was your link?
I think it's Citadel Bloodbeard.
Yeah. Okay. Citadel Bloodbeard. I know. It's. I remember there was some confusion in my last episode of what it was.
Yeah, I thought it was Shantara. Or Shantara.
What the name of my account is Shantara. Give me 1 second. Yeah, the podcast itself is called Citadel Bloodbeard, and then Shantara is just like my account name. It's like my monitor. I use it like on my Instagram and my email, and I've had that since like fucking 2005.
So I think since we have Shane here,
yeah,
and we're probably gonna have to pause so that you can do like a little intro for this or whatever, or maybe this will just parlay into the next segment. But I think that I should tell a story about Shane.
Oh, that sounds great.
I think this sounds awesome.
This is actually kind of a funny story. I want to hear Shane's perspective on this because he knows that this happened to him from me, but we never really talked about it.
This sounds awesome.
So Shane used to hang out.
I'm excited and nervous.
Shane used to hang out here at the shop all the time. He used to get tattooed here, but we're all friends, so he used to hang out, and he would log on to our computer, and he left his password. You remember this story now. He left his password for his fucking Facebook account on the computer. And then he moved to like Philadelphia, I think. Is that what happened? You moved to Philly?
Yeah,
right
yeah,
after
that's where I moved. I moved to Philadelphia the first time.
Yeah, the first time, that's right. And for like 2 fucking months, every day I would get on there. As soon as I came to work, I would get on his Facebook and I would put up some post. And it was always something about LARPing or like huge fat gay guys eating pizza and all this shit. And I think the best part about it was like, you never really even, I mean, eventually you deleted them, but at first you just leave them up and like comment on them, and like you were really getting a kick out of whoever had hacked your account.
I remember that.
You could have easily changed your once you figured out it was like just a password issue. I mean, you could have just changed your password immediately and the game would have been over, but you let this go on for like a considerably long period of time.
It was a hot minute.
It was a hot minute. I always loved that story. Like, doing that was really fun. I loved your reaction to it, too. You were really like, even once you found out it was me, like, you weren't even mad.
I believe there was a post, and I could be making this up, but I believe you said something like, man, I could change my password, but that wouldn't be any fun.
Yeah.
That's pretty much exactly what I said. And I remember at one point, like you had just posted, like, some funny pictures and, like, some funny, like, status updates. And at one point I was like, yeah, like, this is funny, this is getting kind of old, and I could tell that Tony was just like, all right, motherfucker, I'm gonna show you what's up, and then he really started upping the ante on me.
You did. You kind of put a challenge out there as to, like, that it really wasn't that good or whatever.
But it was also completely appropriate.
Because I was making fun of your whole LARPing thing, like, really hard. And then it was like, well, that wasn't really getting you that well. Like, you really weren't upset about it that much. Like,
yeah, like, I just straight up didn't care. I was like, okay, whatever, dude.
Right. Like, I definitely wasn't getting the reaction out of it I wanted. And that's when, like, I started finding, like, all of those really, really pathetic looking LARPers. You know, like, the guys that don't even really LARP, they just, like, talk about LARPing.
They want to LARP.
Right.
Yeah,
they want to be LARPers. Like,
Actually, the other day I saw one. I saw a really good one that you did on me. That was one of my favorites. It was like a picture of like some fucking high school nerd and like his karate gi with his like shitty bowl haircut and glasses. And the caption was like, they called me a fag for taking karate, but I called them fags and I killed them.
Yes, sir. Yeah, that's a good one. Way to be a good sport there.
Yeah, I gotta say, you get like 1,000 cool points for that.
It was a good time.
That was a good time.
Like, my favorite part about that, like, from my perspective, the best part is, like, every once in a while, someone would tell me that, like, someone had, like, hacked my Facebook, because there for a while I wasn't using Facebook at all. Like, I was just, like, cross-posting from Instagram or Tumblr or something. And then I was at work a few times, and one of my my GM, like the GM of my restaurant, came in. He was like, dude, like, you need to check your Facebook out. Because I know you're posting on it. And I was like, all right, hold on, let me see what's up. And I was like, wow, this is pretty intense.
Well, if I remember correctly, when that whole thing was going on, we were still surfing the internet on that site called Space Ghetto. And
Space Ghetto. Oh my God.
You remember Space Ghetto? It was like spaceghetto.org or...
Yeah, I think it was spaceghetto.org.
Something like that. It's still out there. But I mean, I don't know. Space Ghetto is like pre-Instagram, but it was like really raunchy.
It was like the underbelly of the internet.
Yeah, like the only reason we started looking at it was because it had like cool art and like some just really obscure art stuff on it. But then it'd be like art, and then it would be like a picture of like a dead body, and then like the next picture would be like two gay dudes like S&M docking each other or something like that. It's just fucking horrible, man. Horrible fucking shit. Like, definitely not for the kids.
It sounds like 4chan or that other website, something awful or some shit like that.
Yeah, it would have been like the old school 4chan.
It would have been like the old steakandcheese.com thing. Remember that?
I don't even remember that. No.
Steakandcheese.com. Man, I
Don't
do
you
remember there was
that?
another website back in the day. It was
crazy.
just
It had,
gross
like,
stuff.
Yeah, just a bunch of...
It was called like, man, what was it called?
Steakandcheese.com.
No, not that one. Jeez.
I think I know what you're talking about, but I can't remember the name right now.
Yeah, it was just like super gross things, like dudes shoving stuff up their asses. It's like messed up stuff.
Yeah, it was one of those sites that had stuff like that, but it also had the hilarious, like the original internet memes. Like, I remember I saw.
Do you remember? Real quick, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Do you remember Rotten.com?
Oh yeah.
That's what it was. Probably that. It was probably Rotten.com.
Yeah, I think that was it.
Ew.
Yeah. But yeah, like it was like a website like that. It was that or something awful. They had like the original internet memes. Like I remember seeing one that was Sammy Davis Jr. and the caption just said, "Hey baby, you want to go and worship Satan and watch some porn?"
It was Sammy Davis Jr. That's great.
It was definitely on one of those websites too.
Oh, that's awesome. So are you gonna do any new?
Yeah, the internet.
You gonna do any more podcasting soon?
Yeah, I did one this morning. I put up.
Did you? I haven't had a chance to check yet.
It's okay. I'm not mad. It's about a band, Crowder. And I'm not super into black metal, but I really like that band. And I talk about one of my favorite songs. Not just one of my favorite like songs of theirs, but it's probably one of my favorite songs ever, actually.
Oh, that's cool. We'll have to check that out. And anybody listening to this, go check that out. We told you earlier how you go find it. Podbean stuff.
Our podcast is full of nothing but not facts.
Yes. For the premium and trying to get my stuff on YouTube as well, but I don't know. We'll see.
What did you say one more time? I'm sorry, bad connection.
Yeah, I totally coughed.
Can you repeat yourself there?
What
did you say about YouTube?
Oh, yeah. I said I'm thinking about buying the premium Podbean thing so I can put my stuff on YouTube as well, because it'll probably be easier to find it that way.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, get some, the more places you can get it out to, probably the more people can hear it, so probably. Yeah, if they have ears, at least.
Probably.
Probably it works that way.
Oh, jeez. All right, well, we're not going to keep you on here too long, man. I think we should have you back again a few times if you're down with that.
Yeah, we can talk about
yes, 1,000,000,000%.
Awesome. Like I said, we're not going to keep you long. Just want to get this short segment. You're our first guest. Do you realize that?
Woo!
I didn't until now.
You should get balloons. There's like balloons and confetti falling right now.
Where's my soundboard?
If we were famous, there would be a green room, and the girl could give you a hand job right now.
Yes.
And there would be nothing but just green M&Ms.
There'd be a fucking sandpaper hand job.
Right. She'll just spit in her hand and use some grit from the floor or something.
Oh,
it's like a foot job, but with her shoes on still. From a rough wintry day in Philadelphia.
Oh, geez. Do you have any parting words, my friend? That's a lot of pressure, I know.
Spot there.
That was a lot of pressure, I know.
You're on the air. right now.
You could just say
You can say whatever you want.
Get high or die.
Get high or die. That's good words. Wise words from a wise man. All right, dude, I'm going to let you go. I'll talk to you later, man. Thanks for being on with us.
Definitely. Nope.
Bye,
No problem.
Shane.
Thanks for having me on. You guys have a good day.
You too, man. See ya.
Bye.
Laters.
All right, guys, that was Shane. He's freaking sorry for the phone quality. If it was a little low, we'll eventually probably step up to some Skype action instead of just a speakerphone thing. But I think all the good parts probably made it through. I think it's probably time to go into our next segment. I'm not sure what that is, but we'll find out in a minute.
Okay, kids, everyone gather around.
It's story time with Uncle Tony.
So we were just sitting there bullshitting around talking about, we've been on YouTube looking up these homemade forges.
Homemade forges are cool.
I mean, I just want to melt shit and make my own like I want to make a knife out of some scrap I got in a
I want
bucket.
to make a dagger.
A dagger, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I just want to make something out of some metal that I have laying around my house, and we've been watching these videos on how to forge, how to build a forge, like a YouTube DIY or DIY.
Yeah.
Call it.
Do yourself it.
Do yourself
Do
it.
yourself.
And so then that led us into me thinking about this story. So I wanted to tell this story for everybody. So here's your story. My Aunt Mary used to be married to this guy named Colin, my Uncle Colin. He's dead now, but he was like a really cool dude. He was like taught me everything about like tools and working on stuff, and like, you know, he like built motorcycles and restored cars.
That's cool.
And he was like this old British dude, right? And he had this funky accent, and he always used to like make fun of me and shit. And I was scared of him, but I realized later that it was kind of just an act that he put on to like make himself look tougher than he really was.
To be a
you
tough
know?
guy, right?
But so anyway, he told me this story that when he was a kid growing up in England, there was this, you know, poor kid from the other side of the tracks, and you know, he wanted to like race BMX dirt bikes with all these other kids, but he was super poor and he couldn't afford a bike. So he would go into like the junkyards at night and he would like steal these bike parts, and he couldn't get a whole bike. So he would have to steal, you know, bit by bit, each little bike part, until he had enough bike parts, or he'd have to, you know, like work an odd job or something like that and make enough money to buy whatever part he needed.
Right.
But anyway, so this kid Frankenstein this bike together. And then he goes out on this dirt track where everybody's racing. All the you know, other kids are racing these nice bikes that their parents bought him.
I can only imagine this took him a while.
Probably.
Had to put his heart into this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But then, you know, like the kid, the poor kid that stole the bike parts, was better than all these other guys. You know what I mean? Like he would
With
win
this homemade bike?
Yeah, he would win all the races, even though his bike was way heavier. And I remember the reason why he told me this story was because like I wanted a better BMX bike than the one that I had. And like the point of what he was trying to tell me was that, you know, it doesn't matter what tool or part that you have. It matters how you use it. It matters where your heart is and your desire and your drive.
Absolutely.
You know, and I know when I was thinking about the story before we recorded it, I never really thought about this before, but like he always said it was this other kid. But like seemed like he knew a lot about this other kid.
Like perhaps it was him?
Like perhaps it was him, you know what I mean? And this was just like that was like...
What a cool revelation.
Do you know what I mean? Because like he's like, you know, he's an old British dude, and like, you know, they don't have the same... What's what I'm looking for here? Like that story isn't told the same way an American guy would tell another American kid the story, you know, like their slang is different.
Right.
And the manner in which they speak, you know, so... and he just always seemed rude and mad. So I just always thought that he was like angry and shit. Mm-hmm. But it turns out he wasn't. He was just British.
Right.
He was just British.
He was just British, apparently.
They usually sound really happy.
But you know but that story, you know, goes back to like what led us into that whole story, which is, you know, I kind of want to build this homemade forge. And
Forges
like,
are cool.
I don't see any reason why I couldn't build one out of just, you know, scrap stuff and like do, you know, I don't have to go and spend thousands and thousands of dollars to like get into this thing that I want to like see if I would be interested in a hobby. I think it would be fun just to make the thing and see if it works, and then if it does work, maybe improve on it. But like, I think that, I don't know, I think that's the thing, that drive, that passion, that if you see something and you're like, oh man, I really want to I want to try that. You know what I mean? I want to see if I can do that. Or I want to see, and then you start doing it, and then you're like, I want to see how much better I can do this. You know what I mean? And like, that's the thing that separates us from, you know, the monkeys and whatnot.
That's how all great things have happened.
Well, yeah, you know, and like, but like, I still think in this day and age, you know, maybe it's less and less than it used to be, but I still think there's that, you know, if you live you don't even have to live in America, really. If you just have an idea and you're willing to put your heart and soul into that idea and turning that idea into some sort of reality, it's a win.
That was really inspirational. And I'm not even being sarcastic. It really was.
Yeah.
I sounded sarcastic when I said it, but I didn't.
Well, you know, it's funny about the bike story. Like, so I was obviously into riding bikes, and like, I had this crappy, like, Murray bike or whatever. All my friends had, like, PK Rippers and fucking dynos and, you know, like, what was the other bike that was, like, really popular back then? Redline and, the GT.
GT.
I mean, I don't remember.
I know what you're talking about, yeah.
But I had like a Murray, which is like the bike you get at Kmart or whatever.
Yeah,
And I remember I was riding jumps and shit like that. All my friends were like riding, and they all had these lightweight racing bikes that were like super expensive. And you know, I have obviously had this piece of shit bike, and so I was like riding it on these trails, and they had this trail called Treetop, and it was like this tree branch that hung over this jump. And after I rode it, they didn't call it Treetop anymore because I couldn't go over the tree, and I fucking went straight into the fucking branch. And the branch like caught me, and then like the bike just kept going, and like the top bar that goes into like the front piece where I forget what they call it, the gooseneck or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And that part broke, right? Like just cracked in half, broke at the weld. And I remember taking my bike back to my dad, and I was just like, man, you know. And my thought was that, like, I broke it, so now I'm going to get this better
new bike.
I deserve this better new bike,
Well, obviously,
right?
I need something that could take more wear and tear.
Well, so my dad solved the wear and tear problem. So he took the bike I had to my Uncle Gary's metal shop, right? My Uncle Gary, he, back in the day, invented outdoor camera housings. Like when video cameras first became like super popular and only banks had them and shit.
Yeah.
You remember those big boxes on like a weird L-shaped arm that would be out in front?
It's like weatherproof.
He invented that box, and then he sold it to a company called Pelco for millions of dollars or whatever. But he still had this machine shop, this big ass metal machine shop. So, and I mean, they did all kinds of other shit there besides just make these things. Like, it was a full service. You could do anything at this shop. You know what I mean?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It was huge. It was like a fucking airplane hangar size shop.
Oh, yeah.
Massive.
That's
you know
huge.
what I mean?
That's really big, yeah.
And
This was in California, yeah?
Yeah,
Okay.
in California. And so my dad took my bike frame to Uncle Gary's, and Uncle Gary fucking had one of his guys weld it back together, right? Like, super strong. Like, not only did he weld the part that was
stuck
broken,
like a pipe through the two pieces or something?
No,
together?
not like that, but like, not even the part. He welded the part that was broken, and then he had the guy re-weld all of the other welds, so they were super strong. Then they took the whole bike frame and they fucking acid dipped it to get all the paint and everything off.
Right.
And then they dipped it in nickel.
Jeez.
Because nickel's like super, super strong, right? But it's also fucking way heavy.
Oh, man.
Like, it made my already heavy bike weigh like 20 more pounds. Which is not what you want for trying to like race BMXing and like do jumps and berms.
Oh,
and shit
that's
like
hilarious.
And the fucked up part was like, because my bike was so heavy, like, I legitimately couldn't even ride like as good as these other guys could ride, because I just... Like, I couldn't even get air on these jumps.
Yeah.
I would just,
Right,
like,
'cause you
go
weigh
up
so-
and then go right back down. You know what I mean?
You're like riding a brick.
And I remember, okay, there was, like, this empty field in between my house and where school was. And, like, you know, I was, I don't know, probably 12 or 13 years old. And, like, that was all besides skateboarding, riding bikes was it. And, like, riding bikes is how we got to school. Like, that's how all the boys got to school. When I was a kid. We all rode our bikes. So we'd go to this place, and we'd leave, you know, 2 hours early before we had to be at school, so we could go to the lot and like build jumps and like do jumps and race and shit
Get
like
hurt.
that. Yeah, get hurt. Yeah, all right, get hurt. And I remember I would even leave earlier than that just so I could get there before everybody else got there, and like try and do jumps. You know what I mean? So I wasn't like super embarrassed with
Right. So you
know,
could get some more
get some more
practice on your
in, you know?
lead weight of a bicycle.
Oh man, it was fucking horrible. It was horrible. I mean, that bike frame probably still around today.
Oh yeah, that thing's like survive a nuclear bomb. Like.
Oh, totally.
Oh, that's great.
Bikes was a big thing for me when I was a kid. I don't know about you, but like, I mean, I remember.
Yeah, it was. Remember those things you could put on your bikes and it would make noise? Ding, 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 ding.
Wait,
Yeah,
baseball cards?
Yeah,
No.
I didn't do that. But my
the
dad
little
told me.
colorful things.
My dad told me that when when he was a kid that they used to do that. They used to put a baseball card. They would buy baseball cards. This is the way my dad tells me. They would buy baseball cards just for the gum. Right, that was in the packet that came with the cards,
Right.
And then they would take like these cards and stick them in the spokes of their bike. They'd stick them on the forks so that when it went by, it would like make, like she said, like
Right.
noise or whatever.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, my dad told me that like he probably did that to 50 or 60 Mickey Mantle rookie cards. Because when Mickey Mantle was a rookie, you know, when you're a rookie,
Nobody knows nothing about
Nobody
you.
cares about you.
Not
And
nobody not know how.
and they make like the most cards for you. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Because
Yeah.
like you're nobody. Putting a bunch of your cards in circulation doesn't mean shit.
Just fills decks.
That, and I think they're also hoping that, you know, maybe one of these days if you do turn into somebody,
Right.
then that creates like a market value for those cards, you know, for being a rookie card. But like, you know, we added it up one day and he said it was like 50, and I think at the time Mickey Mantle rookie card in mint condition was going for like $25,000. So I mean, I don't know what's the math on that.
That's a lot.
It's like some millions of fucking dollars.
But if
right
people
there.
like your dad didn't stick them in their spokes, it probably wouldn't have such a high value.
Absolutely, because there wouldn't be that many copies.
Right.
Well, there would be more copies.
They'd be worth, you know,
Maybe worth-
$400 or $500 maybe or something. You know, if everyone didn't trash them like they were.
Maybe if there was only, you know, there wasn't so many.
If there was just millions and millions and millions in circulation, I wonder how many are in
You know,
circulation.
it's interesting when you think about that too. Like when I think about, you know, when my dad was a kid, back in the, you know, the 50s. You know, if he would have, and I'm sure my dad was poor. He didn't get a lot of toys. He had 5 brothers and sisters. So,
Right.
You know, and everybody
A lot
back
of
then had
hand-me-downs.
5, 6
Yeah.
brothers and sisters. And if you're the youngest too, like, what are you getting? You're not getting new toys. You're getting your older brother's old bat. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or whatever. Or like an
Right.
old ball or something like that, you know?
Hand-me-downs,
Yeah, you're getting the hand-me-downs. You're not even getting your own fresh clothes. You're getting like your brother's old shit that doesn't fit him anymore. you
Right.
know? Sometimes it might even be your sister's old shit. I don't
Doesn't
know.
fit you either, but
Right.
it covers you.
But I mean, think about if he would have saved any of that shit, any of the stuff that he had. Oh, look at that. Mickey Mantle, 1952 Topps baseball rookie card.
Grade 9.
Graded, this one's graded 5. Graded,
Oh, I was looking at the different one.
oh,
over there. Holy crap.
What's EX5? Is that like really good?
I'm not sure.
But it's $65,000 fucking dollars. Holy
Jeez.
shit! Hey, free shipping though.
This one right here says grade 9, $240,000.
Well, and the grade. Well, okay, that makes sense because if it's graded the same way like a comic book is, grade 9, so
Yeah.
pretty fucking high. Like,
I was trying to figure out how
Pretty
many
rare
were in
if it's grade
circulations. But what this one says, there's an article here that says, not to get distracted here, but it says something like thousands of
Nickels.
thousands of nickels. Nearly 45 years after he played his last game, New York Yankees legend Mickey Mantle still rivals as a Greek god to many baseball fans and collectors. Blah, 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 blah. That's not what I wanted to read. I'm skipping past that. Oh, wait. It says, strange as it might seem, a literal boatload of his first ever Topps baseball cards were dumped into the Atlantic Ocean.
ha ha ha.
So there's another reason why that
That's
card
another reason why there isn't
is
so
probably
many
worth
left.
something like, oops, we literally dumped a
lost all of
boatload of your
let
cards.
let this be a lesson to all you kids out there, or even all you young adults. You know what I mean? Like if you're buying some stuff for your kids and it's like legitimately a collectible. You know what I mean? Like
Collect it.
just collect it. You know
Just
what I mean?
save one.
Fuck, buy 1 or 2. You know, buy 2. Buy one for the kid, and then buy one and keep it. You know what I mean? And I hate to say it, but like, you know, that could be a retirement for your kid. That could be something that you can pass down to them. That 40 or 50 years later, by the time you die and they're old enough to, either they'll appreciate the fact that you saved this collectible item that reminds them of their childhood, or they'll be stoked that they have, you know, an original in the package G.I. Joe or Star Wars character, or
Right.
do you know what I mean? Like if my dad would have done that for me, because I had all that shit.
Let me ask you something real quick. This goes into what you're saying. I'm not trying to interrupt you. If you could pick, and I think we should go all three of us.
Sure.
If you could pick any of the, you know, toys or action figures or whatever it may be you had when you were a kid to still have, just one of them, what would it be?
Just one?
Just one.
Oh, jeez. I mean, can it be like one whole set of something?
Sure.
Like
it can be a set of something.
And I hate. This is probably just the stupidest thing to want to still have a hold on.
But nostalgia, you know.
I used to have that Micro Machines tire thing.
Oh
It was
yeah.
like a case that looked like a tire and some Micro Machines.
It said
on
Micro
it.
Machines on this.
And
on
I
it.
mean,
Yeah, I
they
remember
would
that.
hold probably at least more than 100 Micro Machines in it because they were super small.
Had like a handle, yeah.
Yeah, and I had like a humongous collection
That's
of
awesome.
little Micro Machines. I was like really into them when I was.
I bet
like,
you there's a market for
a
those.
kid. I don't know if they're worth shit now, but
I bet you there is.
they probably are worth something. But I mean, I remember I had like the A-Team set.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
And I used to have a lot of Matchbox cars. I remember when I was a kid, you used to be able to go to like a place like McDonald's or Burger King or whatever. And I know we've talked about this before, but you know, like they used to
get cool stuff.
They used to give stuff that was like legitimate stuff.
Yeah.
Like glasses.
Yeah, like actual glasses. Made of glass that were like a whole set of like, you know, Return of the Jedi came out. And
Right.
A whole set of glasses. I totally had those.
Right.
Gremlins came out. I had a set of the Gremlins glasses.
So cool. Why don't they do that anymore? McDonald's,
remember
listen
when
to
I
me.
was
Do that still. Start
I
that
must have
again.
been 6 or 7, and I went to McDonald's and we had a birthday party at McDonald's for me. And one of the gifts I got was a Dukes of Hazzard Matchbox car set, and I mean it had the General Lee and
Like Boss Hogg's car?
It had Boss Hogg's car.
That's awesome.
It had Cooter's little tow truck.
That is awesome.
And it had a little tiny white Jeep with like an
Holy
eagle on the
crap.
hood, you know, or whatever.
Yeah.
Like Daisy's Jeep.
That's awesome.
And like, I mean, I wish I had something like that still.
That'd be
I
cool,
wish
just for like nostalgia purposes.
you know
like
what I mean?
I'm saying.
Especially if I were to have like the set like still in the box, you know, like I mean, I remember.
Have you ever looked it up, see if you could find it?
No, but you know, I remember what I did with it.
Just smash it or burn it or
On
something?
the side of my house, I had this little mud pit that I could like make mud at.
This is
And I
great.
remember I made like a little, looked like a track for what do you call it? Like monster truck. track.
Yeah, monster
And I had
truck.
like a big Tonka truck.
You run over all of
I
them.
would run over. Excuse me. I would line all the cars up and then run over them, but they wouldn't look fucked up. So I would take like a rock,
Beat 'em.
and smash the car so it looked like when the Tonka truck. I mean, this is what I did to these toys that are probably worth a shit.
That's what I'm saying. It's
now.
probably worth that money now because of that.
I remember having the Star Wars figurines. You know what I mean? The Kenner Star Wars figurines that were, you know, pretty expensive for that time period. They were like, you know, the G.I. Joes and the Star Wars figures. And I mean, my cousin Jason would like save them in the box still and not touch them. And me and my cousin Brian, we would like fucking do shit with them, like
Smash 'em on
play
stuff,
with them.
right.
I remember taking
Beat
like,
'em against each
a
other.
piece of twine that my mom had for like cooking, you know, like when you sew a chicken
Yeah.
back together. Take that twine and like wrap it around their heads, and then like set them on fire.
Just
and, like,
spin
swing
'em around. Oh,
and
yeah.
Throw them at the wall.
Oh,
and
yeah.
shit like that, and just like, oh man, take them apart. You used to be able to take toys apart like that.
Yeah.
and like take heads off of one,
Put
and
them on other ones.
another.
Yep. If you could have one of your toys back, what would it be, Gwen?
I used to really like. I always collected My Little Ponies and Pound Puppies.
Oh, I remember.
And I really liked the Pound Puppy, the one where you would like flip his mouth and he would be mean, and then you could flip it back.
Oh, that had to
and
been like
he would
that had to
be-
been like a second generation Pound Puppy. You know what I mean? Where they're
Remember
actually making
that?
it do something. The first Pound Puppies were
It
just
was
like
just the Pound Puppy
just
plushie.
like yeah,
What if,
plushie.
what if you actually had like a super rare Pound Puppy when you were a kid and then didn't even know about it and junked it? You know, like
Oh,
in
man.
Bob's Burgers when they
Oh,
had
yeah.
she had like the best equestrian knot
Yeah,
or something like
yeah.
that.
And the
the
guy's
guy
like,
was like, "Oh,
"It's
that's
not worth
junky.
nothing."
Here,
Yeah.
you want this brand new
You
one?
should pay me to take this off.
Right,
man.
and it was like the one that had like there was only 4 of them made because it had some sort of like weird thing on its paw or some
Oh,
shit like
that's
that.
funny.
Like, what if your Pound Puppy? What if no Pound Puppies actually did that?
It was
just
it was-
yours,
That would have been awesome.
and it's worth like a gajillion dollars.
I had
now.
the little brown one.
I remember
What's your-
if I could
what's your
choose
favorite?
my favorite, it would be the original, like, OG first Ninja Turtles.
Those were cool. Boys always had a lot of cooler toys. Like, remember that stretchy
Stretch Armstrong?
guy? Yeah, oh my god.
Stretch Armstrong.
I just want to say this real quick about the
That one was
Ninja
so
Turtle
cool.
toys. The reason why I would like to have those toys, and they're like, I think over $100 now if you get them in the package, is that those were the only ones they made that weren't stupid. After that, it was like Surfing Raph or like or like Detective Donatello, and they were like all
Yeah, they
doing
were
stupid
cheesy.
things after that, and I was just like, always thought, man, this original one, it's just Ninja Turtle is the coolest.
You know, now that
The
I think
original
about it,
ones were
like, I
cool.
really had a lot of... I don't remember this before, but I really actually did have a lot of cool toys when I was a kid that I really wish I had now. You know what I mean? Like, I had original Transformers.
Oh, that's awesome.
Do you know what I mean? Like, the fucking... what's the guy's name that turns into the fucking boombox?
Oh,
Was it boombox? Or
no.
beatbox?
Megatroid.
No, his name was
No.
I don't know. I just guessed.
But I had that one, and that one was really cool because at the time, I'm pretty sure... No, it
Megatron.
it didn't have a... It didn't turn into a
Oh.
radio, but it had another robot because a little cassette that went into it turned into a
Into a
robot,
little,
too.
there was a little tiny robot.
I
Yeah,
had
well, that's gonna
that.
drive me crazy. I
Dude,
know
I had,
his name.
I had all the He-Man characters. I had
I had a lot of He-Mans, but they were hand-me-downs.
what was that other thing? Oh, all the WWF. They were kind of almost like Stretch Armstrongs. They were
Armstrong.
rubber, but they
I
were.
remember those.
But they were, and
Soundwave.
Soundwave.
I knew it.
Oh, Soundwave.
Yeah.
I had that one. Soundwave.
Is this the one you had right here?
Man, yeah, memory lane right there.
We're on
Wow.
eBay right now. Let's see this
Let's
thing.
see what it's worth. What could I get a Soundwave for these days? Really, $11 plus
It says
shipping and handling?
with tapes,
That
machine head?
cannot be a real one.
It's got like a Chinese knockoff.
That's gotta be a fake or a reproduction or something. There's no way the real one is going.
Look
for
at that, and that's the little guy that goes inside of him, right?
$14. Yeah, it
Yeah.
turned into like a little
That goes
bug.
inside of him. He goes deep inside of him.
all the way inside of him.
Oh,
I'm curious. I want to
goodness.
see what that Dukes of Hazzard, if I could even find it.
You know, we might as well just carry this segment on a little bit longer, because then that'll just carry over the whole time.
I mean, we're
It'll be
rolling.
easier than to try to cram another segment in. Then we'll start with your
Yeah.
start
I
with
also
your segment
used to
next time.
have Polly Pockets.
Polly Pocket. You know, I always thought, like, when I seen those commercials, like for a girl toy, those were probably one of the cooler
It was
looking
cool
girl
because
toys.
you could literally just put it in your pocket.
And it was like a little world they lived in,
yeah,
right?
and then you open it,
Oh.
and then it was a little world, and you can put her anywhere, and she
She's got a little house or
be on
whatever it
the
is.
swing
She
or
go
whatever.
shopping
I had a
or something.
playground one.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it was.
You
pretty
to put her on the swing, be like, swing, Polly.
sweet. Yeah, I was like, get to swinging.
Get to swinging, Polly.
But I always thought boy toys were cooler.
Boy toy. So we'll have to
There
start
it
our
is.
next podcast with the first segment. Will be
Holy
your
shit.
section.
Yeah.
What is this? Oh, that's your Dukes of
Wow.
Hazzard. $150 with 86 shipping.
Jeez.
I was wrong. It wasn't a Matchbox set. It was in Ertl or whatever. Ertl.
Oh, Ertl, yeah,
Yeah.
by Ertl, yeah.
And they were die cast, but they weren't. See, like
Ertl was really big back in the day. I don't know if they
picture
still
kinda-
are.
The picture kind of makes it look like they were big, but they're not. Do you see what I mean? They're like
They're like
Matchbox
this big.
size,
yeah, they're
yeah.
Matchbox size, but it comes with the whole box. It's got
That's
boss.
so
hog.
cool.
I was wrong. It's not Cooter's truck. It's the Roscoe P. Coltrane's police.
It
car.
looks as if now you had the box. Was it that washed out when you had it?
No.
That's
no.
what I'm saying. So it's looking like they're asking almost
No, it was-
$250 for
it
this
was-
box that's damaged and washed out.
Yeah, I
also,
mean, it looked like, see the back of the box here?
Yeah, where
See
it's
how
all bright and
super
vibrant,
orange?
yeah.
Yeah. That's exactly the one I got for
that
for
sat in
my
somebody's window for a long
birthday.
time.
And this guy wants $150 for it. Buy it now, plus almost
86
$87 in shipping.
Jeez.
Wow.
By Ertl, I remember those commercials that would be like, by Ertl.
Oh, and I didn't have this set, but I had one of these. Do you remember these?
Oh yeah,
I remember those, but
yeah,
I
those
didn't
were
have one.
awesome.
Slot cars.
They had the little metal, the little like it's like fuzzy metal almost
Uh-huh.
that touched the track, and you'd have to get it all.
I didn't
you
have
get frayed, and you
didn't
have
have
to.
the Dukes of Hazzard set. I'm trying to remember the name of the set I had, but it was the one that like went up the wall. It had,
Oh,
like,
I remember that.
It did like you could do a figure eight.
There was
with
a
it. You could
commercial
do,
for
like,
that.
A couple of different things, and it had this like ramp that did like a couple of swirls,
Uh-huh.
and then it would go like up the wall and come back down.
You had one of those.
Oh man,
Cars?
these
Me? No.
slot
No.
cars.
That was a
Slot
boy
cars?
toy.
That was a boy toy. Yeah, slot cars were
didn't
cool.
really- I remember all that stuff.
I like
though.
trying to like take them apart, put different bodies on different ones and stuff.
Wow, that's this guy's got one of those Ertl sets, but it's a box is in way better condition.
Yeah, it looks in pretty good
but
condition.
it's missing.
Wait, it's got 2 Boss Hog cars?
No, he fucking changed it. It's only supposed to have. It's got 2 police cars.
Oh.
It's supposed to have the General.
It's got 2 police cars and 1 Boss Hog car. Yeah, so it's all messed up.
It's all messed up, but it's only worth like $16.
Well, don't even have the General Lee. Everyone's like, they're like, you want this box set without the Dukes of Hazzard box set that doesn't have the General Lee in it?
It's garbage.
It's got 2 cop cars.
It's garbage. It's all garbage. Now.
Nobody wants that.
Let's see. I wonder-
2 cop
what else
cars.
was- Oh, I used to have those WWF dolls.
Yeah, those were cool.
Let's see what those are worth. Oh shit!
Where's
Oh,
that
I
stretchy one?
totally had this one,
The Hulk Hogan, $225.
and I definitely had it in '84 for sure. I remember.
Wow, Titan Sports.
I don't remember exactly when the first WrestleMania was. Actually, I don't think I went to the first one. I think I went to the 4th one.
4th WrestleMania.
The 4th WrestleMania, but
That's
I remember
still insane.
But I remember the main event was Andre the Giant versus Hulk Hogan.
That's insane.
Whoa.
So you
And
actually
right
seen Hulk
before-
Hogan wrestle.
Oh yeah, and right before that was
The Heartbreak Kid?
No, it was it was Roddy Piper versus like the Junkyard Dog or something, or maybe they were tag
Team
teaming
against somebody.
What was that guy's name? That was all bald, and he would like eat the foam on the thing. Ah, fuck.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. I didn't
Ew.
even watch wrestling, and I know who you're talking about.
I always like
Kane?
Hacksaw
I
Jim
don't know.
Duggan, which apparently was Mick Foley.
Yeah.
But back then he was called Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
yeah.
I could be wrong. Maybe they're not the same guy, but I've heard that they were the same guy.
I don't know. Like I would fact check it, but this is the least fact checked podcast in the
This
world,
is- we
so
don't need to
we
fact-
gotta stick to that. We gotta stick to our
stick back to
guns.
just-
We'll
yeah.
look up stuff on eBay just for nostalgia purposes,
Sure.
but
Oh,
fact
there.
checking, I don't
George
think so.
the Animal Steel, that's what his name was.
Yeah, the animal. The animal.
And I believe the British Bulldogs played or competed in that. Competed.
They played.
Wrestled.
They
They had
played
little
around.
ukuleles.
They played around. Man, these things are.
Brett the Hitman Hart.
Some of them are really worth it.
Brett.
Jesse Ventura.
He's worth
What about The Undertaker?
a lot less. Oh, I don't know. That was after my time. The Undertaker was.
And Razor Ramon?
And here's the thing. I'm just gonna say this. I'm probably gonna get some fucking backlash for this one. Any of my wrestling fan friends that are listening. But if you're over the age of 12, come on. I mean, I
They
get
like
it.
the stories.
I get it. If you're
They like the
just,
stories.
you're just watching it for the entertainment
Yeah,
value
it's
of it
entertaining.
all. But
I mean, I don't watch wrestling,
You know
but
this shit is like
people like
100%
it.
fake, right?
Oh,
Like,
it's
except for
definitely
the guy that
not real.
occasionally accidentally gets killed.
I mean, the people are talented, but it's not.
I mean, they
actual
smack each
combat.
other.
For sure, but I mean, it's not like the UFC and shit.
No,
Right.
it's not like that. They'll give you a hell of an Indian burn or like.
They'll give you a hell of
Smack
an
you
Indian
around.
Give you
bird.
the open chest.
Yeah.
They'll
Oh,
smack
my
you
God.
with the open chest
Open
a little
chest.
bit. Open chest.
I want to take this moment to thank Shane for being on our podcast today. Go check him out.
Yeah, thanks,
Podbean. Go to Podbean. I feel like we're just doing ads for Podbean. Like, I feel like
I feel like we're
Go
doing
check
a lot of
out-
ads for Shane.
Podbean. Yeah, he did it for us. And Podbean.
And he'll do it again.
If you want the best podcast hosting around, go to Podbean.
Brought to you by.
Pod
Brought to you by Podbean.
by beans.
Beyond Ohio has absolutely zero affiliation with Podbean.
Unless Podbean wants to pay us, in that case, we're totally affiliated.
Hook us
We
up,
love you,
Podbean.
Podbean.
We don't even have podcasters. We don't even have any podcasters on Podbean. We should.
We're gonna join you, Pod.
So we're
Podbean.
so we're like advertising this Podbean that we don't even have a
But
podcast
we will
on.
probably.
God, we should at least
Maybe.
advertise Wish. I spend a lot of money on that fucking thing.
Should advertise
I love Wish.
Wish.
You guys ever go on Wish?
Check out Wish.
If you don't, you should. If you like cheap Chinese shit that takes forever to ship, that costs almost nothing, it's totally your website.
That was our tip of the day.
Totally.
That was the tip of the day.
Totally. really an awesome website to check out.
Yes.
You can get super sick shit for really cheap.
Super. You just gotta wait forever. That's all. Just be patient.
God, don't look. And here's the thing about Wish. Just a little disclaimer. Anything you look at, it like remembers that and starts showing you shit that's kind of like that. So, you know, if you look at anything weird,
it's gonna show you weird stuff.
It's gonna start showing you lots.
What is
it
that
just kind of
thing?
shows you weird stuff anyway.
Oh, that's like a hood ornament.
Oh, that's a sweet bird hood ornament.
I know, it's like plastic as fuck.
Like, who's gonna drill a hole in their hood or like?
Not all the stuff on Wish is that good, but
oh, that's great. I gotta describe
cheap.
to you guys what that look like. So imagine like a plastic chrome eagle head with a red jewel eye.
Yeah, super sick.
All right, guys, I think that's a good time to wrap up our podcast. If you guys like this, click the like button and subscribe.
Like.
Don't forget to subscribe.
Make it
subscribe.
blue.
Subscribe. Thanks again for Shane for being on our podcast. I'll see you guys next time. Stay awesome.
Bye.
Beyond Ohio.
Peace.
You have been listening to the Beyond Ohio podcast.
If you know what's good for you, you'll hit like and then subscribe.
And don't forget to tell your friends.
Thanks for listening.